Hello, my little chickadees. It's Adam here. It's Gruffer. I invited you to another of our little look at the Patreon episodes we do. I've got 3 of them here. One is about orcs, one is about Ian Miller, and one is going through the old 1989 painting guide. As always, these episodes are to try and get you interested in joining the Patreon, which you can find at patreon.com/the Fluffenhammer. Come and join us. You get everything you get everything early. You also get free stuff like the rest of these episodes. I mean, I've done 3 of these advertisement episodes so far, and that is a drop in the bucket. There is over 1,000 entries into the Patreon at this point in time. Over 1,000. There's a lot. So come and join us. You can join us for a single dollar, you can join us for $5, you can join us for $10. Unless you're Gary Busey's son, and then you're only allowed to join for $50,000 a month. That's an actual tier that we have. Only open to Gary Busey's son. No one else. If you're not Gary Busey's son, you're not allowed to join us for that. Ever. I will let you enjoy these. Look behind the Patreon walls, and I shall speak to you on the next episode. See you soon. Bye-bye. Good. Welcome to the Fluffenhammer Art Galleries, where we shall look through the various forms of publication from the historical tomes known as White Dwarf and associated mediums, where we shall now look at the work of a true master of art, the form of art. We're looking right back at White Dwarf issue 86 and the illuminations of Ian Miller. I feel that we need to get a little bit classy for this one, you see, yes, because it's looking back at the work of Ian Miller as it stood back in the 80s. And of course, since then Ian Miller has done a lot more work, and the guy is genuinely one of my all-time favourite artists. I think Ian Miller is just gorgeous, and whilst we can talk a little bit about the pieces that he's done here, I felt this was a really good way of just kind of discussing Ian Miller as a whole, because Ian Miller is a fascinating human being.
Okay. I'm sure I've seen the name before, and I've certainly seen the artwork before, but he's not really an artist I've really followed, so I see from the article itself, he did some work with Ralph Bakshi.
Yep.
Which, wow. And
for Wizards and unfortunately Cool World.
Yeah.
And if you go back and watch Wizards, you can see it. You can see the Ian Miller. Oh my God.
Look, as somebody who worked on Pluto Nash, you don't always get to choose the projects you work on.
There's nothing wrong with Pluto Nash. It's a film that time has been very kind to. I'll put it that way. But yeah, Ian Miller, born 11th of November 1946. He got originally noticed for his covers for collected H.P. Lovecraft in the 70s. Which, honestly, if anybody out there is of a Lovecraft interest, I recommend finding the covers, because his Dagon cover is absolutely amazing. He also worked on a few Tolkien-inspired compendiums and for the Fighting Fantasy game books. So yeah, I mean the guy has been through the gamut of various places.
Very much a foundational artist, certainly in terms of GW's output.
Yeah.
Looking at the titles he worked on.
The two things I always find really fascinating is that he worked on pre-production work for 2 other films, right? One was Mirror Mask, if you've ever seen that, based on the McLean artwork. So if you now watch that film with the knowledge that Ian Miller did a lot of the pre-production concept work for it, that stands out.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah, okay.
And I understand if anybody out there hasn't seen Mirror Mask, it sank without a goddamn trace back in 2005, but it is very much worth finding and watching. It's a dark fantasy version of Alice in Wonderland, but it's so much better than that sounds. And funnily enough, do you remember that Shrek was in development hell for 10 years?
Yeah.
Ian Miller did the pre-production work for the original version of Shrek that was going to star Chris Farley.
Wow.
Yeah. That would have been a very different film.
Indeedy.
Yeah. He then started working through the Fighting Fantasy game books, Citadel of Chaos, House of Hell, and Creature of Havoc being the main ones he worked on. Then, of course, started working with Games Workshop, doing stuff for White Dwarf. Various role-playing games came after that. Then he got a contract with Games Workshop in order to do things like Terror of the Lichmaster, Death on the Reek, and the Warhammer City box set, if anyone remembers that one.
I think I vaguely remember that one,
yeah. Yeah. Worked on Realm of Chaos and in Rogue Trader. Yes, I wrote these notes down. Don't worry. I'm going through them all. Then, when that contract came to an end, he started doing work for Everway, Shadowrun, and Earthdawn. Much to my annoyance, he also did a load of work for Magic the Gathering, which I don't want to find Magic the Gathering cards because I've got a... You know how some people have a love-hate relationship with Magic the Gathering?
Isn't that most people?
Yeah, I don't have the love part. I despise Magic the Gathering, but I also understand why it's so popular, and there's certain parts of it that I would very much like to get hold of, like the Ian Miller cards. But yeah, he worked on the Token Bestiary, and characters from Token a Bestiary, provided illustrations for Interzone, if anyone remembers Interzone magazine.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yes. Aye. The guy is literally connected to so much of hard British sci-fi and fantasy. It's ridiculous. Then, of course, he released Green Dog Trumpet, Dragon's Dream, and then Rat Spike with John Blanche. Produced 2 graphic novels, The Look in the Head and The City with James Herbert.
Oh.
Yep. And at the moment, he's pretty much retired now.
Understandable.
But, the guy's getting on a bit. He's done a set of tarot cards with James Sheriff, which I have, which are beautiful. I've also got the book that came with the tarot cards, which is also beautiful. And a theatre project named The Shingle Dance.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's all very interesting. I do love it when an artist kind of gets to play around with the concepts for tarot deck. It's always fun seeing what they come up with.
Mm-hmm. What else have I got in my notes here? I wrote a lot of notes for this because I admire and love Ian Miller.
Understandable.
Sorry, I decided just to have a quick look and see if Ian Miller had an Instagram, and it's not that he has an Instagram. He has an Instagram that it's almost like the catalogue of every piece he's ever done. It's ridiculous, but it includes the recent miniatures based off of his artwork.
Oh yes,
and
I was going to get to that.
They are stunning.
They are, aren't they?
Absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
It would have been last July, I believe, that these were out, but beautiful work.
Yeah, it upsets me that at the time I could not afford to grab them, which I desperately wanted to. That freaking dragon is wow.
Yeah.
The miniatures that were produced based on his work is top notch. There's a knight that I would kill a man for, because it's based on one of my favourite bits of Ian Miller work, and it is perfect. It is a perfect representation of the art in miniature form, and I would do unpleasant things to get hold of that thing.
Is that one where the armour looks very crustacean-like?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's really nice.
Mm-hmm. It's stunning. I've got a quote here. When asked what his work is, how he creates his work, his quote is, "My images are the stuff of dreams and apparitions, the tremors that touch the skirt of day, unspoken thoughts, stored memories, drawn up to be aired and then twisted by fancy." I mean, that's such a wonderful turn of phrase. The man is very much exactly what you expect him to be.
Yeah.
Which is weird when you see the picture of him, because he doesn't look like a wizard, which kind of throws me a little bit. His influences are Leonardo da Vinci, Albrecht Dürer, German Expressionists and French Impressionists, as well as an early predilection for Japanese landscape artists. It's like,
oh,
I can see that.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean that all tracks.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird as well, because the article, and I think maybe it's just because of like what they chose to show in one frame. But on the first page, in the bottom left, where you have the knight riding,
Yep.
almost like a corkscrew head chicken.
Yes.
It almost feels a little bit Terry Gilliam as well. It's like I would expect to see that animated in the background of the Holy Grail.
Yeah.
And that's not belittling it. It's just it has that beautiful, unlimited imagination style. You could do anything with it.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and it's one of those really interesting things. I've got Dog Dreams and Green Trumpet, and neither of them have much in the way of Games Workshop work in them. Unlike Rat Spike, which is mostly Games Workshop stuff. Don't ask me how much Rat Spike cost me, because Jesus fucking Christ. The art that he does for those two are very much unbridled creativity. There's creations in there which are absolutely bizarre, but you can't help but drink in the detail, drink in what it evokes. And it's one of those things where I think probably Miller is one of the biggest influences on the stuff that I do, and a lot of the time. The idea of texture over the actual line work. And that's not to say that Miller's line work isn't perfect. It bloody well is, and I wish to hell that I had that kind of level of talent for just doing the line work. But it's something that I didn't realise up until maybe 6-7 years ago, that one of the things that draws me to art is the texturing. It's not just the line work and colouring. It is how it evokes the emotion out of you. And it's amazing to see this stuff.
Well, I've found the company that make the miniatures from that Kickstarter. It's Mirrored Miniatures, if anyone's interested.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the range, and my God, these are wonderful. Because you're right, they've got that texture that's in all his artwork.
Yes.
Which is so hard to replicate. I mean, it's easy to do flat surfaces. It's hard to put texture in like this.
Yeah.
I mean, almost everything's resin cast, so understandable. But still, it looks fantastic.
It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. Yeah,
and some of the stuff is really useful stuff as well. It's weird. I'm looking at some of the scenery stuff, which for resin scenery pieces are actually quite reasonably priced and could be useful for a lot of purposes. I need probably to navigate away from his website, because this is getting dangerous.
I haven't actually seen the scenery. Am I going to regret this?
It's nothing big. It's like ruined square pillar ruined, circular pillar, a ruined fountain, ruined statue, ruined staircase, the worm gang mole machine, treasure piles, dragon eggs, a dragon that's £125, which honestly for a resin dragon is about right nowadays. If you think it's not, well, go check out Merce Miniatures and then come back here. It's a bargain.
Oh, God, no. Yeah, no. Merce Miniatures do really nice stuff, but feck me, I cannot afford to get in on that in any way.
No. Nor could you store it anywhere, because the things are freaking huge.
Ah, true. Very true.
Oh, man, this dragon is actually really, really nice.
Yeah.
It's...
Danger.
Can I just say, in 2 years' time, Adam, when you do another follow-up to this, and you go, oh, yeah, there's these beautiful sculptures, Dee will go, oh, you know what? I've got a dragon around here somewhere. I picked it up 18 months ago.
But no, I think out of all the artists and things that have come out of Games Workshop, I think Miller has a tendency of being not forgotten, but he is of a certain era of Games Workshop.
Foundational, but they moved not past, but away from his style.
Yeah. During the 90s, you got that Mark Gibbons quite solid, bold look, and then it moved into the Kapinski style of art. And whilst, I will always have this massive, massive love for Wayne England, because I think Wayne England was an amazing guy to have in that era of Games Workshop. Yeah. Miller puts down the building blocks here of the weird of Warhammer very, very nicely.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you can look at his... I mean, just the article that you guys are looking at, but even when you look at his artwork outside of that, you can see all... There's elements that have been iterated on over the years. The teams may not even be aware that that's what they're working off, but you can tell that this was important artwork in the development process.
Yeah, and it's one of the reasons that the Cruel Boys annoy me as much as they do in Age of Sigmar, because the Cruel Boys have so much of Ian Miller's style involved in them that I should be absolutely insane about them. But they're not fucking orcs. The way the armour holds, the way that the folds fall on the various fabrics, the giant bird creature that they've got, everything is so much a love letter to Ian Miller that it really works. Seeing that in 3D.
It's just, like you say, the fact that they... If they'd be pitched as something other than orcs...
If they had been if they'd been a destruction human type warband, like they weren't orcs, they were pure destruction, but they were all human-ish, then I would have gone in a different way. Yeah. But I think that, of course, the main thing I hate them is that they're not the Fimir. And that
fair.
They should have been the Fimir.
I mean, I still want to, because I have a bunch of Cruel Boys knocking around. I want to try and do them as hobgoblins. Sort of 4th edition hobgoblin style.
Yeah.
Give them a bit more colour to them, make them a bit more punchy.
Well, I painted a load up as in human skin, and it works really, really well. They look fantastic. And I used them for my Hashut themed Chaos Slaves to Darkness army. I really need to take more photos of the various things I do.
Yeah.
It's one of the things that always kind of goes to the wayside. I need to do more of that. But anyhow.
So that can add on to list page number 36 on things to do.
Indeed. Yeah. Indeed. The never-ending story.
Recording these is a very dangerous thing for both of us, isn't it?
Yes.
I think the big thing for this, and this would be one time when I really like. If people are listening, please go do this. Okay, go follow him on Instagram. And the reason I say that is because I've never seen an artist put so much of his work. Like, you can spend hours scrolling through. It just never ends.
Yeah.
And the depth of what he's done. And if you like something, you will find a whole series of things across decades of work that he has revisited, he's reimagined, he's experimented with. It's beautiful, and it's lovely to see an account like that has that depth of quality.
Mm-hmm.
And it shows as well that the guy, he spent some time working with GW. I don't think there's ever been any like negative fallout. It's just he went on and did his own thing. And let's face it, after a while as well, some of his caliber probably quite expensive anyway to deal with, especially as he's only progressed. But he has such a fantastic contribution to the world of fantasy that it's worth you having a positive creative force in your feed such as that.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
No, absolutely. And Ian Miller is so ingrained into the world of British fantasy, and yet I think unless you're deep into it, he's not a name that anyone's going to kind of know, and that's a shame. That's a genuine shame. Yeah, he's the guy that people kind of come to rather than the guy that people know of.
Yeah.
In the same way that Ian Watson is very much attached to so much of weird British fantasy over the years, fantasy and sci-fi over the years, that unless you kind of know who he is, you're not going to really find anything about him. Yeah, because that's an era it's long gone, unfortunately.
Yeah,
all the
very
Ians.
true.
All the Ians. What do you say, Figs? Do you like Ian Miller there, Figaro? He's just looking at me. Sniffing the microphone. Yeah, he's made his noises, he's made his opinions known, and now His Majesty is just going to sit on my knee and have tummy rubs. Okay, fair enough. He's leaving now. I hope you enjoyed that little excerpt of Cat Corner.
Yes.
So I think with all that being said then, we shall get out of here. Please, 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 if you hear this, go and just look up the work of Ian Miller, because the man is incredible, and I could easily fill a 2-hour podcast talking about the various parts of Ian Miller's work, which I absolutely adore, why I adore it. But I don't think anybody would really be interested in that, because who am I?
Stay tuned next week on this channel.
Well, I think it might be worth trying to get into some of the artists, because we've done Wayne England, we've done Ian Miller. There's a couple of other artists out there that I think would be worth doing in these shows, just to kind of talk about, because Warhammer, for me, I don't know how this works for anybody else, but Warhammer for me is a visual medium first. It's the artwork, the books, they are the physical side of it is what makes it for me. So being able to talk a little bit about the artists and things is always going to be something I'm excited by.
I mean, the artwork's what draws a lot of people in initially. So much of the artwork is, you talk to people and almost everyone will say it's the artwork at some point. But it's either bought them in or it's been the thing that sealed the deal for them, because they saw some pieces together that just nailed it. And I don't think anyone doesn't have a favourite piece of Warhammer art who's in the hobby.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone can probably name at least one piece that they're a fan of.
Absolutely.
Even if it comes down to, they don't know the artist or they don't know the exact name, they'll go, that picture of the guy in gold on the throne, or that sort of thing. They'll pick it up. And one thing that's lovely about the scope of the artists is, because yes, there are house painting styles and there are house art styles for at least certain publications. The fact is, in general, there's such a broad range of artists that have created work for 40k and fantasy that the gaps between them is where you, as a viewer, fill in your own imagination, your own version of that world. The shadows of one picture might lead to the highlights of another for you, or they might be completely different worlds. There's lovely things. I'm literally thinking of a piece that's popped up in the background of a couple of YouTube videos. I have no idea who it's by, and it's of a random collection of characters, and yet it defines an element of 40k for me. So, yeah, it's definitely worth checking out these things. And don't worry if you're newer to the fandom and you listen to us and you go, I don't know all these facts, I don't know all these details about this character and that character in this edition. It doesn't matter. Just enjoy the artwork. Trust me.
Yeah.
You're enjoying the world as much as we are.
Absolutely. So what I'm hearing here is next week we're going to be talking about Gary Chalk. Because
the voice actor.
No. I was going to say, no. We're doing a Beast Wars show. Excellent.
No, the artist. Right. So with all that being said, then we're going to get out of here. Of course, I'm going to have to leave you now with a fact. Are you ready for this fact?
Go on.
Go on.
Speed, 1994, incorrectly credits Jan de Bont as director. Speed did not have a director, because if it had any kind of direction, it would have been Velocity. Bye-bye. Oi! Welcome once again to the Deeper Dives, where we're going to look at the best orcs you can find. As always, I am Orc Adam. Over there is Orc David.
Oh, yeah.
We've got another Orc Adam here. Hey, you weird boy, watching you.
I see, and it's most nice to meet you too, sir.
That's a Gremlins 2 moment right there.
It is. Is everybody here?
That was more meaning the a little bit about what's going on in this room. The brain gremlin from Gremlins 2 lives in my brain just non-stop. That entire sequence.
Great.
Gremlins 2 is tons of fun. Why there was never a Gremlins 3, I don't understand. The idea of
unfortunately, there is going to be one.
Oh yeah, I forgot that. No, there should have been a Gremlins 3 about 96.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, not now. Not now. No. If Beetlejuice has taught us anything, stop it. Stop it. Legacy sequels shouldn't happen. Stop it.
I think I've just mentally added Gremlins 1 and 2 to Fluff and Busters, so don't worry, Dee's not the only person getting extra work through these recordings.
I'm fine with that. We can do it as a double bill. I will happily sit through those two films and yammer about.
Hang on. We can record as a double bill, but there's no way I'm editing as a double bill. What are your plans for 2027? Oh, they're already filled in, thanks.
Gremlins 2, Predator 2, Highlander 2. Right, so we're going to go to issue 299 of White Dwarf and the Heart of Orkness, where we have... this is an interesting thing here, because this actually ties into something that I realised in the latest White Dwarf, which really annoyed me. We have here George. Not our George, it's a different George. This George has a much less of a hairline than our George. Our George has, even after having his haircut, has a much better hairline.
Yes, he has a distressingly bouffant hairdo.
George Delapina, who has created a feral orc army for 40k. And the reason I wanted to get into this is I love it when people get fun with their orcs. And this stuff is incredible. As always, I am Adam. Over there is David, as you heard from the Orky intro. And down next to me, inside a paper bag, making a rustling sound, is Figaro the cat. Cheers, Fig.
I was wondering what that was.
That's Figaro has brought a paper bag upstairs, like a big paper bag, laid it down next to me, and got into it. So... I apologise for any sounds that you may hear.
I'm underneath the paper bag.
You're Figaro the cat. Oh no!
Yes. 'Tis I, Figaro.
And yeah, there's a thing in the latest issue of White Dwarf I've noticed, because I think I'm just going to do a little peek behind the curtain here. I was considering the idea of us covering the 50 years of Games Workshop from the latest issue of White Dwarf. Now,
Okay.
that would be a difficult one to do because I would feel we can't... Figs!
Quick aside here, if anyone listens to Oculus Imperia, it's been a long time since the recordings where he used to throw little comments at his cat because his cat was trying to interfere in the recording. So it's good that we're finally getting a sort of modern day updating of that.
I mean, honestly, I watch so many videos from folks who have their animals interacting. I mean, Ricky's got a dog now. Ariel has her dog. Limes has her Pomeranians.
Mm-hmm.
It's just fun. And I don't have an animal, so it means it doesn't really affect me personally. It just means it's more fun to listen to.
Do you want a
I
cat?
just have a squiggoth.
But yeah, so I was thinking about doing that, but then we can't really reprint a brand new issue, and it's one of those things where I don't really want to touch anything that's in the current run, the 2017
That's fair.
up till now run of White Dwarf, because there's something about trying to scan and reprint articles from that, which that's not
that feels a little.
It's not a good thing to be doing. It's a silly idea. But in the 50th, one of the things that I've noticed is that they give everybody their first name but no last names. I know who Jervis Johnson is. Figs. Stop it. Stop it. Warning you. Don't lick my hand.
You realise, of course, that Figs does not give one solitary grum of a damn about anything that Gruff is saying, and just is doing its own thing.
I'm thinking more that they're doing it for the attention. So you're literally feeding their algorithm.
Yeah, I know who Jervis Johnson is. I know who Andy Chambers is. I know who Jez Goodwin is. But all the way through, they only give the first names of all these people, and it is the weirdest experience reading through it.
Yeah, I mean, sadly, that's been a thing for years now, and it's like how they very rarely credit the artists who do the artwork anymore, unless it's a particular discussion of their work, like Neil Roberts gets. And Neil's a very particular case because he's an external artist who has a very deep career outside of GW.
Yes, yeah.
But it is frustrating. I understand why, because they still have that twitchiness about giving out too much personal information.
Oh, absolutely. And they learned that from the mid-2000s, didn't they? Where you put someone's full name out there and they can be found and all hell breaks loose.
Yeah.
There's a lot. It does seem to be. It's like our first reaction as fans who are positive of mind and not too creepy, I'd like to think, is, we'd love to know their name because then we can follow them and support them. But of course, the fact is some of these artists, they put their name out there and then they get abuse, unwarranted attention. So in fact, them remaining off the grid, so to speak, is a benefit, not a curse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, just look at Matt Ward, what that guy had to put up with very early in his career. You can imagine that there's a point where he wondered, is this worth it? Is this worth doing the job that I'm doing? Because the hell he was getting.
And the thing is, that's not really his fault. He was given an assignment, he did it. The problem is that there was no one seemingly who thought to edit his work and go, could we just tone it down a little bit? Could we tweak things so it's not...
I think the problem with Matt Ward's work early on is that he did not have the experience to be the front and center person making these codexes. It's as simple as that. Because the stuff that he has done since then, and the writing that he has done, is top notch. I've got his Frostgrave anthology over here.
I mean, his
really
fiction
good.
is generally very well regarded.
Yeah.
He's the lead writer for Darktide.
Yeah.
With leading what is a murderer's row of Black Library talent, frankly.
Yeah.
And the work he does is exemplary.
Yeah. It's really, really good.
Yeah.
And it's all down to the fact that when he wrote Codex Tyranids and Codex Space Marines, he was too young and he didn't have the experience to be able to do this well.
Yeah.
And that's, not entirely the fault of the writer. It should have been the people who were running the project realizing that early on and shifting gears.
Absolutely. Or just having someone willing to give him a bit more guidance.
Yeah.
And like I say, just someone who could. He needed a really good editor.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not because the writing that's there is actually good.
Yeah. It's just it's focused on all the wrong parts. The Codex Tyranids one's always the one that I go to because
that was a 4th edition one, right?
Yeah.
Or was that 5th? Yeah,
that was 4th.
Because that was a course correct. Because the 3rd edition did Codex, because that was the big range refresh. I actually really liked that Codex because it gave you all stuff where you could give. It gave you maximum mutability. You could give any weapon to any Tyranid bioform, and the weapon adjusted to fit their stat line.
Correct. Yeah.
Which I think is a really fun idea.
Yeah, and then you have all the morphs and everything like that you can add onto it. And then the next one, it removes all of that, and the Tyranids, the constantly mutating and evolving to deal with any threat, becomes the most basic, least mutable army on 40k's battlefield.
Yes.
And that should have been something that an editor or a project manager realised early on, turned around and went, actually, no, we can't put this out. This isn't workable.
Yeah. And the Spaceman one, the whole point was that the reason it was Ultramarine heavy was they wanted to give every character they introduced in that book is an archetype.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea was, and they say it, in that codex, the original idea was that you could use these characters to represent characters in any codex compliant chapter. That was the point. But then later on they amended that and said, no, you can't do that. That was a big frustrating for a lot of folks because, well, now you just have all the Ultraman characters who are the best at everything.
There's a challenge that comes up far, far, far too often today, to the point where it's almost expected, which is with major film studios who create these reboots or adaptations or refreshes of old IP. And of course they come out with a lot of, let's just say, different influences, for good or bad in today's climate. But they come out, and let's face it, at the moment, very, very, very few of them are being received well by traditional fans. Now, the challenge is, in this instance, is that anyone with a brain will know that the company behind these IPs has determined that they be set out and designed a certain way, that there are certain rules to follow and it needs to hit these targets. Those rules and targets might not resonate with the fandom. The fandom might protest, and what a responsible company would do is actually come out on record and say, look, don't blame the guy, in this case Matt, for doing this rule. We wanted this rule put in place.
Yeah.
He has just written the fiction that covers that rule.
Yeah.
And it's the same with films today. If you don't like the film, well, it's not the actor's fault. The actors don't have a say in it. Sometimes the writers don't have a say in it. Blame the studio. And the studio should go out and defend its writers and its actors. And GW, I think, and this is where we sort of go full circle, in allowing its contributors to have some anonymity, it is as close to protecting creatives as any studio is doing nowadays.
Yes.
So in many ways, although I don't like it, I have to admit, GW are they've probably got the best attitude to protection that any creative studio currently has outside of games companies.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd say that's fair, yeah.
Should we talk about some orcs?
Well, yeah, let's.
Yeah, probably.
Because this has actually reminded me of an idea I've been toying with in my head.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
Yes.
So basically, it's an army creating a feral orc force for 40k, and it goes through how he's used the different parts of different kits in order to get it as is. The thing I really like is you've got what is basically black orcs riding cyborgs, and let's all just admit for a second that cyborgs is one of the greatest names that 40k's ever come up with.
Yeah.
Cyborg is such a great title, with a little bit of surgery on how it's all been put together. It's a really solid look, and then you get the Squiggoth.
Yeah, this is a fun project. He's just mashed together so many cool kits and created something quite fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite glorious.
Yeah, I love the fact that the war boss has got Abaddon's power claw.
Yeah. And the fact he's riding a super cyborg.
Yep.
With the big red knob upgrade.
Yep. And it has the greatest line in the entire article. The war boss was a bit trickier than the boys, but then he's more important. Because he rides a super cyborg, I had to split his legs down the centre and widen them. I then resculpted the groin. The effect made him look much bigger. It's like, you did that on purpose, didn't you?
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it, though, it's a Wednesday evening, you're bored. Who hasn't resculpted their groin with green stuff?
Bored. But yeah, it's
yes,
really fun.
We're all grown men over the age of 40.
If anyone's listened to Wham...
And a decade.
Yeah.
If anyone listens to Wham, you know that me and Andy Turnbull have spent far too long now getting a good chuckle out of the word taint. So, yeah. It's... Although saying that, I think episode 17's out now, so the full taint is yet to happen.
I'm sure we're all waiting.
You're all waiting for that. Yeah, the taint of Nicodemus is something that we have been giggling about for far too long now.
Look, I was trying to rivet things together whilst you were listening to that podcast. It was hard, man.
Well, if you're going to have some people desperately searching for the taint, then know that two men from very, very north are going to find that hilarious.
I mean, The Tainted Destiny was definitely Indiana Jones' lowest grossing film. On a more sort of studious note regarding the actual article, I think with all the silliness and the creativity that goes into the names and everything else, I think there needs to be some genuine appreciation sent for his use of the color tones that he's used.
Mm-hmm.
So, because he's gone for obviously this sort of bronzy brown effect, but he's added a lot of depth, a lot of tones, a lot of texture, and he's made what is quite a drab color, or something that could look, pretty crappy. Literally, he's given it so much life, especially on the Squiggoth, where you have so much armor and then you have the decks, and yet it looks lovely. And of course, of the time, the fact that back then, you wouldn't bother with tactical rocks, but also that you still had the silliness and the funness to just stick some toadstools on a model base.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas now you'd be like, no, it needs to be more dramatic, it needs to be more serious, and yet it has that mix of, it looks really gruesome, it also looks really fun, it looks really nasty, but it looks really silly. You've got the Squiggoth that looks really serious and beautiful and textured and lifelike, and then you've got the orcs looking really, really silly, and it's just it's lovely work.
It's the night goblin that's been modelled on to hanging onto a chain. Is a work of sheer genius.
It's not the only time I've seen someone use a fanatic like that, but
Mhm.
it's always fun to see because it just makes it's one of those things. Oh look, it's a nutty goblin with a chain. Clip the ball off the end, stick it somewhere else. That'll do the job. Yeah.
Yep, works for me. It's
I do love how he's painted the leather armor as well on that Squigger photo.
oh yeah.
That's just beautiful.
I love the fact that there's a zombie head from the zombie kit just hanging there.
Yeah.
It's there's just tons and tons. You could spend hours just looking at the Squiggoth.
Oh, absolutely.
There's so many different parts and elements from different areas that he's managed to do an amazing job.
And I mean, that Squiggoth is big enough. It's big enough it could stand in for the Stomper.
Oh yeah.
See, this was about 4 or 5 years before that.
Yeah, it will be.
Yeah. That's it. The cyborgs is an idea that I miss. I mean, and the idea I've had back in my brain is to take some of the modern Ironjaw Boar Riders, take some of the Squighog boys, and basically replace the Squighogs with the big boars from AOS.
Yes.
And cyborg them up. Because I think that could be a lot of fun.
The Gore Grunters. Yeah.
Yeah. A war rig being pulled by a giant boar instead of a giant squig.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, you could actually put the squigs into AOS, the Squighogs into AOS, and they still work.
Oh, absolutely.
Just replace the Gore Grunters boars with. I had to look at the sprues, and every time I look at them, thinking, oh, yeah. Because the Gore Grunters are a little bit bigger, but not enough that it wouldn't be a fun idea.
The problem there is that one of those squig pigs, as I keep calling them, has a mechanical leg, and it's a real bugger to sort that out. I had to sculpt an entire leg to fit into it because it was like, son of a...
Worst case, you just give it a giant peg leg.
That would have been easier, yes.
Yeah. I mean, I just love the idea of taking one as Gorgon and trying to give it one of the giant big wheels that these cyborgs have. Because that was always a fun thing, the fact that the snake bites in 40k at one point just took boars and gave them to a mad doc and a mech boy, and you got angry giant pigs with bike parts stapled on them.
Mm-hmm.
It's so stupid, but it's great.
I like that the article has almost a lovely little tease for the future.
Yes.
Because he reveals that this took 150 to 170 hours to complete, which is hefty stuff. But this is just the baby. The big one is on its way, and it'll be equipped with a canteen, toilet, and other assorted bits of extreme orkiness. I'd love that it's probably a portable toilet, like strapped onto the back.
I wonder if the big one ever got shown anywhere. Let's have a look.
Because I know they did, because they had a bigger Squiggoth kit, didn't they?
Yeah. Let's have a
They also did a Warmouth, which would have been great with a bunch of orcs hanging off it.
Let's have a look. See. No, it doesn't look like. Yeah, no. Although saying that, I have just found an article where they use Tonka trucks to make all the vehicles for an orc army. I'm going to have to find that because that's going to be one that we will have to now cover.
Oh yes.
Oh my god! talk about the age that we are. I've just seen an article, a little post that came up. Hello, recently I've been looking at old articles of my dad. His name is George Delapina, and he used to be in quite a few Warhammer books as he worked there. Oh, and he was colourblind.
Oh, wow.
Wow. That makes these even better then, because these are some vibrant colours going on.
George
that tells you the sort of age that we are.
Yeah.
George Delapina worked on the Imperial Armor Apocalypse book.
Oh.
So yeah, there we go. Interesting things. And he was the one who did the Tonka Truck Orc Army.
That tracks.
Yeah, right, cool. So we'll cover that in the not too distant future. I will dig that out and find that.
As soon as we finish this recording, we'll all be sending off personal invitations to George to have a chat with us.
Yes. So I think with all that being said, we'll get out of here and let you guys peruse the Old White Dwarfs to your heart's pleasure. Thank you very much to David and Adam. Thank you very much to you guys for listening. You're all my little fluffers, and you're all my little...
And you're all welcome here.
Come on, my little chickadees. Ride on the chaos. It's all gone wrong. Welcome to the realm of chaos. Welcome to the deeper dives. Welcome once again to our look back at the history of Games Workshop's publications. And this time around, we are getting real deep into the weeds, aren't we, Mr. David?
Oh, absolutely. This time we're getting some that, for us and any one of our vintage who was getting into the hobby, we had a copy of this booklet.
Yep.
Because it was everywhere. And honestly, it's pretty great.
So, I've got so many things to talk about here. So today we're going to talk about White Dwarf Presents the Citadel Miniatures Painting Guide. The scan that we have here has a little symbol on it that says £1.25. Now, did you buy this or did you get it free?
Ooh. I think I had it come in one of the paint sets.
I had it come in the 4th ed Fantasy Battle box set.
Yes, it would have, and so I'd have had mine in the 2nd edition 40k box set.
Yep, came that as well.
Yep.
The one I was hoping to try and find, but I just can't seem to find anywhere, is that there was a painting guide that came with Hero Quest.
I had that as well because I had the Hero Quest paint set.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, that was kind of like it was the advanced Hero Quest paint set.
Yeah.
And that was my big step into painting miniatures. That was what I used to do. I basically painted all the stuff from Hero Quest, using the paints in that set and the guide. Nowadays, I remember some of the jobs I did, and it was like, so much paint, nothing layers, but I was what, 11 or 12, so
no, absolutely.
But they were really well put together guides, though. That's the key thing. They were, and this booklet especially. I mean, it's got John Blanche, his name attached to it, with a lovely introduction page with the fact that even at this point in 1989, he'd been working for nearly a decade for Games Workshop.
Yeah.
John, it's wonderful he's enjoying his retirement and has non-GW projects coming out, but it's so weird that he was such a part of the evolution of this product for so long.
Yeah.
That it's weird to not have him part of it, but his whole style.
What I keep finding very odd at the moment, because I've been doing a lot of stuff in the background. I'm trying to pull together all the Blanchett articles.
Yeah.
Because the Heavy Metal Mondays is going to be coming to an end in the next 3 to 6 weeks, depending on how I release them. So
that sounds all right.
So what am I going to do to replace them? And I was thinking, looking at the Blanchett articles. Now, I'm in two minds about that, because on one hand, it would be really cool to have these things archived, but on the other hand, that feels like a little bit of taking somebody else's work and putting it forward as my own. I'm not quite sure what to do with it yet. But I know it's my internal brain stuff.
I get what you mean. End of the day, the way that you've been archiving stuff, is you create one of the best archives for this stuff out there. To be fair,
I hope so.
and I
I've put enough work into it.
yeah, but I don't see it. I mean, doing the same thing for Blanchitsu. I mean, thinking it off the top of my head, I mean, logically, you could probably do the same thing for the Stillmania articles.
That's true. Yeah.
Jervis's features, I can't remember what they were called, but he had a regular feature pretty much throughout his time at GW.
He had the J files. He had he had a load of different names for them.
I mean, end of the day, as long as it's stated, and I don't doubt that you wouldn't do this, and you'd be listening under the Blanchard description stating at the start of each one, this is John's musings from this particular issue of White Dwarf.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Yeah.
I mean, and if you want to read more, here's the issue number. Fill your boots.
Absolutely.
But I do.
Yeah.
I mean, I do understand where you're coming from in terms of your brain's just thinking, but because the heavy metal galleries, it's taking the team's overall evolution, and it's quite a long period as well.
Well, yeah, 30 odd years. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, but it was a different thing to take in one person's articles and re-upload them. But then they're not available anywhere else. Not really. So.
No, that's true. We'll see. We'll see what I do with it and what happens with it. But one of the interesting things about doing that has been seeing the change in Blanche as a person throughout this entire time. Because obviously the first Blanchitsus, they're in 1984. And it kind of goes away and comes back again in the 90s for a little bit, then goes away, comes back in the 2000s, goes away, comes back in the 2010s. And you're seeing these snapshots of the person in these different decades. And it's this weird, almost like time lapse of a human being. Because Blanche, he's worked for Games Workshop for most of his life. It's it's really odd. And it's just seeing this picture of him up here in the first page of this, it's like, oh yeah, because I'm so used to seeing him as he is now. It's really interesting to me in a way that I can't quite get into words.
No, I can understand that. It's odd sometimes to look back at a person you're so familiar with and see them from a period where, I mean, he looks so much younger. Still recognisably John Blanche, but you can see this is a very different person to where he is now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can understand that.
Also, I think it's because I hate the Hunt for John Blanche documentary so much that anything that isn't that automatically becomes more interesting.
Yeah, it's a shame that's kind of not gone down well with folks, because I respect the effort they put into it.
I don't. Because I think they haven't put the right effort into it. I think they went round it completely the wrong way, and as a result, it became nothing.
Yeah, that's a shame. They put all that effort in, and it was kind of in pursuit of possibly the wrong end goal or the wrong journey. So which is a shame, but
although
if it brings in an extra to the hobby or to John's work,
that's true. The one thing that I will take from the documentary, which I am currently finding very funny, is that how much poor Thomas Pyrrhian was trying to push Trench Crusade, and then everything that happened with Trench Crusade happened. It's like, oh no, oh dear, because that appears to be something that's burnt up all of its goodwill very quickly.
I'm not sure on that one, because I mean, it's getting. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of love for the plastic kits that have been announced, which have come out so far, and it seems to have developed into a bit of a nice second string for digital sculptors to fall back on.
But the digital sculptors can't do anything for it anymore.
Have we not?
No. Have you not seen this?
No.
No, so Trench Crusade's creators have started doing banhammers on people who've been making digital miniatures for it.
That's
yeah.
Given that was where it got a lot of its audience from, that's not great.
No, the way I've been describing it is they've. It feels like they've been trying to speedrun being EA. It's
that's unfortunate because
yeah.
honestly, although I don't vibe with the setting, the actual none of the miniatures I've seen people come out with have been anything less than excellently put together.
Oh yeah.
Even if it's something that makes me go a little bit, that's just my aesthetic appreciation. The actual fundamentals of almost every sculptor that's done something for the trench coat has been like, that's actually really quite a solid piece of work. Fair play.
No, absolutely. It's just it's a bit of a shame. Anyhow,
Yeah.
so
back to the painting guide.
Painting guide. So we get to have a little introduction with Mr. Blanche, and he talks about what is miniature painting, just like the ins and outs of it all. And it's a really nice little introduction, to which at the end of the page we are treated to a picture of his undead diorama, which was in White Dwarf 118, I want to say? Question mark.
Yeah.
Around about
and
there.
honestly, as dioramas go, I mean, if you want a snapshot of John's art style, everything that he puts into the painted page is here just in 3D. It's quite remarkable.
Yep.
I mean, that ghost with its spotted cheat. I mean, that's something, a stylistic touch that you will see in multiple pieces of John's work over the years. You've got that fuzzy fire, I think it's fire effect behind one of the soldiers, which is quite nice. The lovely hand-painted banners and shield iconography. I mean, it's great. It's also a bit unfair. It's giving people an unfair expectation to aim for, because it's like,
here's what the masters can do. Now, go forth and try yourself.
Yeah.
What I really like about this is that at the very bottom of the page, there's a head from the old Citadel Jabberwocky coming out of the water. And I remember how heavy that head was. So that is going to be seriously pinned in there.
Pinned, probably a bit of resin fill to get the water effect and to stick the damn thing in.
Yep.
Yeah. And even then, if anyone just touched that thing, it would probably shatter everything around it as it just sheared off.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, so good. Then we get the introduction. And it's interesting to hear that one of the things that stands out is have a good look at the photos, and before you start to think, I'll never be able to do that, remember there was a time for all the painters when they too had never painted a miniature. Like any other hobby, painting miniatures takes patience and practice in order to develop your own skills and style. You'll also find it gives you tremendous enjoyment and satisfaction. And then,
absolutely,
underneath, you've got this goddamn red dragon.
Yeah.
Just because that dragon, it looks like it's a really simple paint job, but it's not, because the amount of blending and goes on in that is insane.
Yeah. I mean, all 6 of these examples, they look simpler than they are.
Yeah. And I distinctly remember painting things. Why does it look nothing like it?
Yes. I think it's not an easy thing to describe on the page either. I mean, hell, even seeing someone do it on a tutorial video, it's not always easy to get it to click in your head to have the process. You have to do it, and it like they say, it takes time to build the skills and the affinities.
Yeah, oh, absolutely, it does.
And to get used to the medium. I mean, because this is using Sistral paints from the late 80s. And that's a vastly different tool set to using. I mean, even today, look at if you just take a couple of paints from just for like the core color sets from the major hobby manufacturers that are out there. None of those paint sets, the paints themselves, will perform exactly like those from another company.
No.
Each of them has different properties that you need to get used to, and it's not something that it's not something that's easy to explain to someone over the page. And it's not something that really is easy to get used to until you try it.
Yep.
But you won't know that it's a thing. You might have been told it, but you won't understand it until you start trying to apply it and trying to use the same techniques with a different paint that behaves differently and doesn't do what you expected it to. It's not an easy thing to get used to.
Not at all. Not at all. And if you go back to this era, you had the choice of Citadel paints, Humbrol.
Yeah, and
What else was on the market?
I mean, I think you could buy Tamiya stuff, but that was real expensive at
I
that
was going
point.
to say
'cause that was
1989. Ooh. Oh yeah, you probably could, but
Yeah.
you'd have to be getting.
it was like the premium line for hobby. I mean, really, it was Citadel and Humbrol, and even then, Citadel was the one that was aimed specifically at this sort of painting.
Yeah.
Humbrol was more kind of geared towards painting your epic stuff.
I think 1989, Humbrol would still only be doing enamel. They wouldn't have been doing water-based.
No acrylics. Yeah. So it's an interesting snapshot this of where the hobby of this part of the hobby was, because I mean, for one thing, if you look at the next page where it goes into tools, paints, and brushes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this page, I treated it. I mean, for tools, I had everything off of these tools.
Yep.
Which is annoying because I bought a hacksaw when I should have bought. When really, what they should have said was you need a jeweler's saw.
Yes.
Yes, because I have painful memories of trying to cut miniatures using metal miniatures using a proper hacksaw saw blade.
Yep, and working up a real sweat doing it.
Yeah, and sometimes not even for wire blade, but for wood saw blade, because I didn't understand the difference because it wasn't ever explained.
Yep.
I had
a wood saw as well.
Yeah, but a jeweler's saw would have made much more. It would have been the better tool.
Yep.
They probably weren't as accessible at this point. They were trying to make it an easy list of tools, but live and learn, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a bad list of tools, though, and it's also striking because this was a time where GW didn't make their own.
Nope.
So this is all stuff you would have to track down on the high street. I mean, I think I went to art shops.
Mm-hmm.
Even a few dedicated hobby shops in town was tricky. I think I went to hardware stores for a fair bit of stuff.
I was going to say my hacksaw came from B&Q.
Yeah, and even then, some of the stuff I was looking for, I remember going into a hardware shop trying to find some of the adhesives and tools, and they looked at me funny. It's like, no, I wanted little mini clippers, and because they'd give me a big set of heavy duty wire cutters. Like, no, I need smaller.
Yeah.
They looked at me funny, to say the least.
You're making bombs? Yes. Well, it's funny as well because you've got in the adhesive section, you have actual milliput. Yeah, there's no way, even though Games Workshop don't make green stuff anymore, there is no way they would show a milliput box on anything they put out.
Yeah, I mean, nowadays, I've seen it. There's been the odd article where they've mentioned other putties that can be mixed with green stuff.
Yes.
To create alternate blends with different properties. But they've very distinctly shied away from showing off distinct brands of other modern putties, which a little bit of a shame there, because I think they've missed a trick over the years of not showing off more of the putties that are out there.
Yeah.
It's like yesterday, Darren shared a link to who was it? The company that it was about the company that makes green stuff in the States is they're stopping production.
Yeah, PSI.
But it was a link to the UK arm who have said, no, we're planning on continuing production. We've got all the stuff we need to. We know what we need to do. We're working on our own mix for it. 'Cause it's going to be slightly different because it has to be.
Yeah.
But it was all really good, fascinating stuff. But their articles actually have stuff about all the other types of modeling, sculpting putty that are out there.
Mm-hmm.
Their properties and what you can do with them. And yeah, it's one of those things that I don't tend to look at them because my hobby stuff, I don't use a lot of putty.
No.
My kit bash is because I'm trying to work in a very restrained environment.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of taught myself to not use putty wherever possible. So I'm always using bits and pieces, and I'm not even using Striga or anything. I'm just kind of working around it and finding alternative ways to cover up gaps and things. So, but it's an interesting topic to think about, and it's just so odd to see in a Games Workshop publication, Milliput.
Not only Milliput, you've also got some liquid poly there. I'm trying to
Yep.
read the make of it.
I think that's Revel.
Yeah, I was thinking it was Rebel, but it's hard to say for certain.
Hmm.
And that's kind of like, oh, wow, yeah. The other thing, of course, from this, there's also these little hints that are down in the bottom. One of these here is, Golden Demon says, always use adhesives in a well-ventilated room. That would have been a really good idea for 12 to 13-year-old Adam.
I don't know what you mean. It's not done me any harm at all.
I used to get high as a fucking kite on a Friday, Saturday night without actually realising that was happening to me. Because I would be sitting there, I would be, I don't know, putting a rhino together, and then I'd start looking at the bits box I've got, and then next thing I knew, I've built a pump wagon out of bits of balsa wood and slaughter bases. Because,
yes,
and I look back at it and go, that, Adam, is because you were off your tits.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yep.
Whoops.
I mean, I'll be honest. I still don't do my stuff in a ventilated area, but then I'm on so many painkillers at the moment. Well, permanently, it just doesn't make an impact.
No. I think resin printing has taught me that I need to crack a window open.
I mean, yeah, that'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
Or get yourself a vent hood to pump it out.
Yeah, I think that's something I need to do, actually, to get a vent hood. These days, because my printer's in a very small room, and it's not very far from the window, so it's not a problem. But I think down the line, once we move house, I'm probably going to need to get a vent hood. And
I mean, I was going to say, surely this is a good opportunity with the move to design yourself a decent little hobby workshop.
Oh, I've got plans.
Yeah, excellent.
I've got plans to make a hobby area plus gaming area plus recording area. And it's going to have nice walls. It's going to have lots of shelves. It's going to have 2 desks. It's going to be really good. So it's probably going to cost about $5,000, but it'll be worth it in the end.
You know, everyone I've seen posting their hobby spaces online where they put the effort in, it makes me so jealous. Because, well, one, they put the work in, and 2, I can never imagine having enough space to do that because I'm such a pack hoarder.
It'll be the first time in my life that I'll have the space to be able to do it. I cannot wait. Cannot wait. So let's move on to the next page. Preparing your model. So there's a few things you have to do, and it's funny how, whilst some things stay the same, some things are also very different. You still have mold lines and things that you have to deal with, but where the plastic mold lines and metal flash work is completely different, and it's an interesting little change in how this stuff works.
Yeah, I mean, I had a few metal bits come through because it's like I picked up that MTO Wolfguard standard bearer.
Mm-hmm.
So I never had that in Funcast because I didn't want it, but metal, yes, please.
Oh, absolutely.
And just clean that up. It's like I'd gotten so used to working in plastic that having all the little stringy bits hanging off the model is like, oh yeah, this is a thing, right? Come on, you little sods, where are you? Because for one thing that has always gotten me over the years is painting a model and suddenly going, well, that bit of detail looks wrong, and then realising it's a little piece of flash that I hadn't realised that's bent over.
Yep.
So then it comes up, it's like, ah, yes, son of a...
Yep.
Snip, snip, snip. Repaint.
There's nothing worse. Like, it drives you insane.
Yeah.
Also, I just want to draw attention to this Dragon Ogre. Just look at it. Oh, that's the good stuff right there.
And that was a kit bash, wasn't it? That wasn't
No, that's...
No, that was an original Dragon Ogre, wasn't it? Yeah,
that's the first Dragon Ogre. Yep.
Yeah, because I remember he had an article where he did do some Dragon Ogre conversions.
That's right.
And that just struck me of... But no, yeah, you're right. Yeah, that is...
That's the original. We'll probably have to find that Dragon Ogre conversion thing, because that was a really good article. There you have undercoating, and this hasn't changed in the slightest. So, spraying models. Golden Demon says a white undercoat will make There. A white undercoat on the model will make the colours appear brighter. A black undercoat can be used to create special armour effects. The paint rubs off more easily if the model hasn't been undercoated. These are all good tips. Yep. Really good tips.
Yes, they are.
I love seeing those old psychostyrene orcs being spray painted. That makes my heart.
Yeah.
My heart grew 3 sizes that day.
Yeah, they were a fun little bunch of models to get to bulk up your horde.
I loved the psychostyrene stuff. It was just wonderful. Then we have applying the base coat, which it's pretty much the same as you'd expect. Yeah, the base coat hasn't really changed over the years, but the fact that they show off the Warlord Battle Titan as this is what the finished miniature will look like. It's like, no, it won't.
Yeah, it's like no. Although what I do like is that for each of the 5 demonstration models, they've only painted one element.
Yeah, it's a really cool little way of doing it, isn't it?
Even where with like the Marine Captain or the Knight, they haven't done all the armor; they've done one particular section of it.
Mm-hmm. Just so you can get a good idea.
Yeah, which I think is a much better approach because when you see a model where they've done everything in stages, your brain can struggle sometimes to notice. You get overloaded by the amount of detail.
Yeah.
But this, by having them do each model with a specific element, so 2 dwarves, 1 for skin, 1 for beard, the Knight with just 1 pauldron, the Terminator with 1 of his leg guards, and then the elf with his cloak. That's actually a pretty good way to do it, to be fair.
No, I agree.
And honestly, GW do still do things kind of that way nowadays in the White Dwarf guides. They will take you through a particular section, but because they've got the rest of the model being painted at the same time, it can still make it a bit harder to spot, to really read how the elements are being done.
Yeah.
So I do like this way, to be fair. Now, do they say 2? They haven't mentioned 2 thin coats.
No.
Or
there is no
thinning
mention.
your paint.
No. Doesn't tell you a single thing about thinning your paint in this. It's interesting. What I quite like here is when painting an individual character model, try to evoke the atmosphere and background in its design. You can make a model look mean by painting a grim expression. However, don't overdo it. You shouldn't need to cover the model with blood, severed limbs, and decapitated heads, although this can be sometimes fun.
Yeah. I mean, in fairness, that's something So what was it? I think I might have mentioned it before, but a few years back, I was doing some Infinity stuff,
and
there's one model that is always painted in very dark and sinister tones because that's kind of the vibe it gives off.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to give it something different, so I actually painted it like Obi-Wan Kenobi in the Clone Wars.
Okay.
With his white armor and his brown robes.
Yeah.
Still did the skin pretty much the same way, so it's a purple-skinned alien. But everything else, the robes I painted, all the cloth elements I painted like Jedi robes. All the armor was a grey base coat that I then overpainted with whites to get up to that nice cold steel kind of look. And then painted his sword like Obi-Wan's lightsaber.
That's really cool.
So a bright electric blue with very tight white highlighting on the edges. You know what? I was quite proud of that because it just gives it a whole other feel. It still has a slight sinister edge because of face more than anything, but it kind of. I find it interesting trying to do things like that, where you're kind of painting against the model's intent. That makes sense.
Yeah.
To try and
find a different story, a different narrative to play with the. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. The 2 things from this page I really want to pull out, of course, is the green orc dressed in red power armor makes a very effective model. And then you look at how they painted the boils, and there was no way in hell 11-year-old me was getting that.
Nah. But that orc is kind of unfair, because...
Yeah. So many of these things are unfair.
As we'll see in the next page with Chaos Warrior.
Yeah.
2 Chaos Warrior. Well, the Mercenary, the Chaos Warrior, and the Eldar. I think this is a Proto-Striking Scorpion.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, you can see where Scorpion's got a lot of their stuff from in this guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, you look at this as like, what? Huh? Because there's some serious blending and things like there's little bits of what's it, speckling
Yep.
done into like the shield to get that dotted effect on the colours. They're all really good, but equally it's like, oh, that's kind of unfair.
Yep.
But fair play to them. They give you a nice chart of the colours, the base colour, the dark shade, and the highlight you require.
Yes, which is really good.
And I like the things like with the red, they go red, sunburst yellow, or white.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they don't explain that for white will shift it to more of a pink colour, but it's nice that they do say you can use either or.
Yeah, yeah.
That's not always a common thing you'll find.
No, and it's something that I think even now people struggle with because it doesn't really get spoken about in a lot of places. Is that a highlight for a colour doesn't need to be a lighter version of that colour. You could use a lighter version of another colour to make a really strong highlight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, some of my battle mechs, what I've done is I've used contrast paints over the base primer.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've taken a vastly different. I think I did some in black and red, a black and red color scheme, and I took Dawnstone.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Was it Dawnstone, or maybe one of the more brownie tinted dust colors? But I basically dry brushed all the models with that to bring out the edges to get the highlight.
Mm-hmm.
I then washed all of them with non-oil. So one thing, it ties everything together a bit better, but that even without that wash, the highlight still worked, even though it was a different color, because it gave you the idea that these are mechs that have actually been in the field a bit. They've got some wear, so you're starting to see a bit of. You basically got weather. It gives you instant weathering effectively.
Yeah, yeah.
Especially when you're talking about a miniature at a much smaller scale than what we're used to at 28 and 32 mil.
It's one of the reasons I don't do BattleTech. Scale too small, make brain hurt.
But it's so no. The reason most people don't do BattleTech is because the GIF, the meme of combat math. Oh god, that's a lot of charts. Is completely true. But the models, in fairness, they feel daunting. But once you get going on them, you can you can do more than that. It helps with the miniatures now are much more accessible as well.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Honestly, I prefer plastics over some of the old metals because the old metals are sons of bitches. A lot of time for BattleTech. So I had a Sagittaire that I thought was completely stable and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I dropped it once, years after I'd finished building it, and the damn thing came apart into all of its component pieces.
No.
Yeah, and I think it wasn't even. I'd stood it on both legs, so I knew it needed the support.
Yeah.
But I wasn't going to pin it because it's actually it's still a fairly small miniature. It's barely bigger than a Terminator for 40k. It's a lot of metal in how it's organized.
Mm-hmm.
But they've now done a plastic Sagittaire, which is so much nicer because it's plastic and it's stable and it's pre-made. So,
you see, I love the feel of metal, but plastic's so much easier to work with.
Yeah, I mean, metal gives you a whole different feel, but although I do have to fight the urge sometimes when I see people who've never worked with all metal miniatures bemoaning a metal sculpt. It's like, you get why it looks like that, right? Because that's the material they had to work with, which constrains them. Just like the plastic is constrained in what they can do.
Yep.
Because, this is my old man shout at sky moment, to be honest. Which is why I try and avoid commenting too much on some of the videos of the more popular YouTubers, because I love their stuff, but sometimes it's just like,
I'm so old and I'm angry about it.
Yeah, I was still shocked when I found out that Tex from the Black Pants Legion, who does all the text talk battle text and has a voice that it sounds like he's been gargling gravel for decades. He's 6 years younger than me. He's only just turned 40, the bastard.
Oh, it's a sad state of affairs when you look at people turning 40 going, oh, you young whippersnapper.
Yeah, and then you look at Bricky, who's only just
Nope.
he's turning 31 in a few weeks' time, I think. And it's
Stop
like,
it.
Yeah.
Stop it, or else I'll have to I'll have to beat Andy for being young.
Wait, we need an excuse to beat Andy?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just in the contract. So there's a couple of Golden Demon says, which I think are really good here. Golden Demon says, unless painting units and miniatures for Warhammer Fantasy Battle, try not to have too many models on the go at once. The prospect of so many can seem rather daunting, and you'll end up leaving some unfinished. That's
a hateful thing to say.
As somebody who accidentally does horde armies on a semi-regular basis, yes, I know. Stop making horde armies. I look forward to my next Age of Sigmar army, because it's going to be nothing but ogroids, so it's going to be really easy to do.
Yeah. I do guard, and then my Space Marine army is almost all infantry, so it's just like, oh.
I've got 5k points of Skaven for AOS.
I mean, in fairness, isn't that stuff you've been collecting, though, for quite a while? More than just this edition.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not bad.
No, but the stuff that I originally got way back when looks odd compared to the stuff that I've been painting recently over the last 2 years, 3 years. So I had to go back and repaint parts of them.
Ooh.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's no bueno.
Yeah. Golden Demon says, an old plate or tile makes a good mixing palette.
Yep. That damn good advice, that one. I made use of a couple of plates over the years and a few odd paint bits of tile.
Yep. So unfortunately, I then moved on to a wet palette, and I will not budge. You will not stop me from using a wet palette. I love a wet palette.
Yeah, they do make a difference to how you do stuff.
So shading your model. I love the fact that they went back and they shaded over the stuff we'd already seen, and then just threw a Chaos Sorcerer in there and went, look at this. And then look at the paint on the face of that Chaos Warrior. Just look at it.
Yeah, look at the fade from
from the brow to the back of the head. Yeah. Bastards.
Yeah.
So then we get shading your model, and this is my favourite page because there's an amble. And the fact it tells you that the basic colour of a bestial brown was washed with a mix of bestial brown and orange ink. Orange brown highlights were then added. No. That's not as simple as you're writing that down. There is no way.
And that's before you get into doing like the mandibles, the claws, the detailing, the weird veiny things running from the head to the back, and no. But
I'm not having it. I'm not having it. You're making stuff up. Golden Demon says, try to keep your work area as tidy as possible. Ah, shit.
I'm feeling judged right now, to be fair.
Well, I think that this is a really good piece of it's a really good publication, but it also doesn't deal with the fact that most of your audience is going to have some form of spectrum.
This was 89 in fairness to them, so. But equally, I suspect this may have been wishful thinking on the part of the design studio office manager more than anything else.
Absolutely. We've heard stories of what the Heavy Metal and the sculpting team worked like, and there was no way in hell that advice was followed.
I mean, it does say as tidy as possible rather than keep your area tidy. So I think the possible bit is doing a lot of lifting there.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Then we get the highlights. And this, of course, is my favourite part of any paint project. Dry brushing. Love dry brushing. Oh,
Yeah.
But of course, Golden Demon says, dry brushing shortens the life of a brush. Always use an old or cheap one for this technique. I wish that is something that I'd followed over the years, because the amount of brushes I've killed due to use them for dry brushing.
Or for applying glue.
Mixing texture for bases.
Yeah. I mean, I'm so glad I learned the trick of just buy a bunch of makeup brushes instead.
Yep. Yeah.
Wish I'd learned about that 20 years ago.
I have a wooden box with Winsor Newton brushes in them, right? They are very expensive. I got them for Christmas 2 years ago. I have never used them because I know how much I destroy brushes.
Same. I have backed multiple Kick crowdfunding things that have included brushes,
Mm-hmm.
and I have them still, and I've never used them, and I never will because I know, one, how much they cost me.
Yep.
I mean, I've been bought expensive watches before, and I've never worn them because I can't. My brain won't let me wear something expensive like that.
No.
It's like,
No.
I mean, I wore cheap Timexes for the best part of 2 decades.
I do like a nice watch, though. There is something about a nice watch.
I mean, I've got a smartwatch I was bought for on Christmas. Not an Apple one, but a lower, a different brand one. And you know what? It does what I need it to.
I can't get away with smartwatches for the simple fact I hate the plastic straps. And I know that's a weird thing to get attached to, but I don't want a plastic strap. I want a nice leather strap.
I mean, you should be able to buy a leather strap for them because they're using the same mounting as a standard watch strap, effectively.
Yeah, I'm aware, but in my brain it's like no plastic strap.
I can understand that though. I mean, I wore leather or fabric watch straps for most of my life, and a rubber watch strap feels like going back to being a child.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's exactly it. I don't want to. I'm not 6 years old as much as I'd like to be.
But counterpoint: if you have it linked to your phone, you can answer your phone on your watch, and you can look like you're Dick Tracy.
I do want to be Dick Tracy. That's absolutely something that I've always wanted to be. So maybe that might be the way forward for me. Adding fine detail. Now this is the page that has it's aged the most, I think. Because down at the bottom, the Golden Demon says, use a separate pot of water to clean your brush after using metallic paint. This will stop flecks of metal paint appearing on your other parts of your model. Now, of course, that doesn't really happen anymore because it's ground up a lot finer than it was at this point.
I mean, in fairness, a lot of painting guides I see nowadays, there was a period where they didn't stress this to swap your paint after using a metallic. But in like the last 10, 15 years, a lot more often when you especially watch painting instruction videos, they will say, once you've applied metallic, swap out your water. But there was a period where they didn't really.
Yeah.
Especially in GW painting guides, I noticed, the ones that showed up in White Dwarf and they didn't mention that as often as something that you should keep an eye on.
That's kind of...
Which is it's interesting to realise that it's mentioned here in pretty much the foundational material that so much of what comes later is based off of. But they did kind of stop adding that one specific thing into the instructions, because it's kind of important, because even nowadays with metallics, which, like you say, the metallics themselves can be a lot finer in terms of the flex.
Yeah.
But it is still recommended because it can still... I mean, hell, whenever I do metallics, I will normally start from a completely fresh pot of water anyway, just to avoid any contamination of what I've been doing before.
Yeah.
Get mixed into the metallic. And then once you've finished, you swap out from metallic or water metallic for something else. Or just have 2 pots of water to hand. It all depends on how you're working. But it is nice that it is there at this stage, you know? It's spelling it out when... It's something that really should have been... It's one of those box out for any painting article that involves metallics could have. And I know that if it's in an ongoing publication like White Dwarf, it could probably get repetitive to regular readers. But if you're treating it as an issue is going to be someone's first issue, it's an important thing to remind people of.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that's fair. Page 14, adding find. Oh, actually, no, before going to that, page 13. Where's it at? To detail the eyes, paint them in with white, carefully following the moulding. When this is dried, add a small dot of black for the pupil. Define the top of the eye with a line of black paint, somewhere like a line of black eyeliner. If you allow this line to drop slightly onto the eye itself, you will create the impression of an eyelid and prevent the model from appearing to stare. Wonderful. I ain't painting eyes. Stop it.
Yeah, I'll do helmet eye lenses,
Yep.
but that's about as far as I go nowadays.
Yep, nope, not doing eyes anymore. I am too old, my hands are not steady enough, and my eyes are shit.
In fact, I think I stopped doing eyes with the Lord of the Rings range. That was what
Yeah,
the point where I went,
smaller.
nope.
No, Jesus, no.
Yeah, that was the point where I went, yeah, screw this.
Yeah.
But it helps with the sculpts because they're so much finer. It means that if you do a wash or if you're painting with the face, you can kind of get away with it much easier.
Yeah.
So it's kind of annoying though that you do see some really good articles nowadays about how to do eyes, and they are really good techniques. But it's like, yeah, I could have done this. 3 back surgeries and so many years of pain earlier. Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's not happening now.
Yeah.
So yeah, we go to 14, adding fine detail. Once again, just kind of goes through all the miniatures we've seen and how they finish each and every one of them off. And each one of these miniatures looks bloody gorgeous.
They do, and I do like that you can see in each one that they've taken the techniques that they've used on, not even just for one piece of the miniature that's already painted, but the rest of the miniatures that have been the other 5 examples. You can see where the techniques have been used across all of them.
Yeah.
And also, it's great that the knight is basically the dude from the current Warhammer Quest set.
I was thinking that it's it's really cool to see the sort of the origins of that guy. I love the fact that at the bottom of this page you got this wonderful Gary Chalk piece of art for an orc, and it just shows you all the different bits and how to paint them. It's like, man, look at that artwork. That's gorgeous.
It is, and it's a really useful visual as well, to have it be more of a cartoony piece to show. Would have been good if it was a miniature, yes. The fact that it's an illustration, though, kind of helps you get a feel for what they mean. So,
it makes me happy. I always love to see a bit of Gary Chalk art.
Yes, and probably the most important Golden Demon says bit of the lot. A good light source is essential when working on fine detail. Yeah, and if anyone's, I don't know about you, but when I was starting out, I was just using the strip light in the kitchen to paint by.
Yes.
Or the light in my bedroom.
Yes.
Didn't have a desk light. Certainly not one of these LED lights you can get nowadays.
I had a 30-watt bulb desk lamp, which I only got because I said I needed it to do homework by.
Yeah, I don't think I even used one of those, to be fair. I think when I finally got a light to paint with, it was only when I was really getting back into painting, like 2011.
Mm-hmm.
Then I went online and got an LED light.
Yes.
And then upgraded to one of those ones that you can change the tone. You can get daylight out of it. But,
man. We live in the future. We definitely live in the future.
We do. But no, this is one of those guides that is, I mean, for fine detail, yes. Some of these do that checkerboard pattern on the Terminator's knee pad.
Yep.
Yeah. Trying to get that nice straight line on the elf's cloak.
Yep.
Or, God forbid, freehanding the skull design over a quartered pattern on the shield for the knights.
God damn it. Like, no.
Yeah. But, like I say, it is nice that apart from those extraneous bits of fine detail, which are more ones that you really do need to practice your techniques to get down pat, everything else, you can see how it's come together from what we've been shown in the previous bits.
Yes.
It's not perfect, but it's a really well put together starting point.
Yeah. It's something to work towards, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then
I mean, the The only thing I think I'd probably knock it for is it doesn't really get into how the primer can affect and base colors can affect some of the colors you try and paint over the top. So there's nothing really in here about how metallics go better over a darker base coat, or yellows will struggle over a black base coat, which is a bit of a shame because that's some kind of crucial information to make people aware of. But
Very much so.
overall, it's a pretty solid introduction to the hobby, you know?
Yeah.
And I'd kind of forgotten how good this was until you pinged it across to me and I'd look through it, because I mean, this gives you all the basic techniques.
Yes.
It's not perfect, but it's giving you the tools to get started and to begin to learn.
Yeah.
It's also not talking down to you either. It's explaining in really nice detail what steps you need to take, and it also makes the fact that they've said right from the start, look, these are being painted by studio painters.
Mm-hmm.
You will feel disheartened looking at your stuff next to them initially, but it's skill. It takes time and practice.
Yep. Just keep working and you'll get there.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the book finishes with one of my all-time favourite dioramas.
This was a bit of a goodie, this one.
Yeah, it's just the Space Marines going into a hive and being attacked by gene stealers. And I could spend days just looking at the textures and each floor. It's such an amazing piece of work.
Yeah, I've always loved this one. Just you got the variety of Terminators. So you've got a Grey Knight, you've got the original design Terminators, you've got the guys from the Rogue Trader / second edition box of Terminators.
Mm-hmm.
Stop kind of dude with a power sword. Get in.
Yeah.
And a few poor power armored dudes are like, well, we're buggered, aren't we?
Yeah. You got the front half of a Rhino that's got the hatch opening up and the guy coming out, and oh god, it's absolutely bang on.
I mean, clearly when he was planning this out, Mike McVeigh had just seen Aliens.
Oh yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. Yeah.
I mean, this wears its influences very clearly, but it sums up everything for you. That gene stealers are a menace.
Yep.
And that even Terminators will get diced up by the bloody things.
Mm-hmm. I love the green gene stealers. You don't see them ever again. It's such a good look.
Yeah, and the fact that the ones in the more traditional colours, even them, their exoskeleton's been given this really harsh highlight up to nearly a white sheen. That works real well in this environment. On a broader scale, it probably would look a bit washed out, but here, against those really dark backgrounds, it kind of helps everything get elevated.
It really does. Yeah, it's lovely. Real lovely. Right. Well, with all that being said then, that was 1989's How to Paint Citadel Miniatures. I hope you've enjoyed us talking about it, and I hope you've enjoyed having a look at it on the site. So, I think then that's probably a good time for us to throw down the smoke bombs and ninja vanish. Goodbye!